Hello everyone, yes, we're back for another runner-by-runner preview, and this week, previewing the Makybe Diva Stakes is going to be a cracking race. It's a pretty even field with the favourite at just $4.60, so there's a lot of horses in single-figure odds, so we're going to preview them runner-by-runner, but first of all, let's take a look at the speed map. So this is how the speed is looking out of the gates. Mount Popper's going to be the most likely leader. It's been taking a sit in the past couple of races, but I think they'll use him up considering the slow speed and no early leader. Incentivise should get a good run from that gate. TOFANE will be right up on speed. I think they'll roll the dice with Colette. Moonga will be getting back with KEIAI and NAUTIQUE. If AEGON jumps well and gets position, I'll be more confident in its chances, and same with Inspirational Girl. That's about the speed map. Mount Popper looks the only early leader with TOFANE going with it. Number 1 is Sir DRAGONET, a horse first up, the Cox Plate winner of last year. He's a cracking horse, Sir DRAGONET. First up record is really good. It's only had one good track win, and that was in the Tancred Stakes. It was a Group 1. The query is first up, 1600 good track. He doesn't like much of them. Not saying he can't run on a good track. He can definitely run on a good track. It's just that he runs better on wet tracks. So, good track, 1600 metres first up is the obvious query with Sir DRAGONET. Number 2 is 50 Stars, a horse second up, loves Flemington, and will be given it all. It ran first up in the Memsey Stakes behind Behemoth, and ran on solidly from the back, only to get beaten 4 lengths. He can do well 50 starts if he puts his best foot forward. The only query for mine is from gate 13, how far back he will get under Johnny Allen, how far back he'll get. That's the obvious query, because there's going to be some quality horses in front of him that he might not be able to run over the top over. So I'm happy to take on 50 starts. Number 3 is a very interesting runner, KEIAI NAUTIQUE, a horse that for most of its career has been racing in Japan, racing in some of the big features there in Japan. It came first up to Australia in the Winx Stakes of Group 1, which is a replay we're going to take a look at. Watch for it flashing home late. KEIAI NAUTIQUE got right back to near last for Glenn Boss, absolutely charged home late. It can charge home late down the long Flemington straight and win. I reckon it can do that. Craig NEWITT on is a big plus because he knows how to ride back markers to the best of their ability. Just ask, Lindout and all them. The only query for me is how far back he'll get though. As I said with 50 Stars, there's going to be some quality horses in front of him. So KEIAI NAUTIQUE, I think, is its right price of about $14. It can win, but will it? Number 4 is Imaging, a horse that also comes through the Winx Stakes, won by Moonga, and KEIAI NAUTIQUE was in the Winx Stakes, if you forgot, which you shouldn't have. Imaging ran a pretty solid race in the Winx Stakes. We're going to take a look at it again and just watch Imaging at the moment. It's getting held up on the fence, then it gets out and tries to flash home. First up probably needed that run as it was peaking late, so second up will be fitter for that run. Flemington, I think, is a good track for it. It's a big straight where it can use its best turn of foot. I reckon it's actually a sneaky chance Imaging. If it can get a good run, like with cover, close enough to Mount Popper and TOFANE up on speed, I reckon it's a massive chance. It might not win, but I reckon it's a good chance to get into a placing. Imaging, I think it's a quality horse. It nearly won a CF4 earlier in the year, so Imaging, I think I've got it in there near 5th or 6th. Number 5 is a very, very interesting horse, Mount Popper. This horse is second up and also comes through the Winx Stakes. We're not going to take a look at a replay this time for Mount Popper. It got right back to near last and had to flash home. That's not what it likes doing. It likes rolling up on the speed. If it gets to the front and goes at its own tempo, I reckon it's a sneaky chance of winning or even getting into a placing. So I wouldn't be riding off Mount Popper. I reckon if it gets to the front, it's a very good chance. It's only missed the top 3 2 times in its career, so it knows how to do it. I reckon it's up to the class. It's already into a Caulfield Cup, so I reckon it's a sneaky chance and over the odd. Horse 6 is probably the most interesting horse of the Spring Carnival all across the land of Australia. It is Incentivise. It's first up, and first up in its career. It's been 2 starts for 0 wins and 0 placings. So it might need the run. It's got a bit of residual fitness, only off a 10-week let up. It'll go forward for PREBBLE from gate 3 and make its own luck on the speed. The only query I had was first up off a bit of a break, and it doesn't do well first up. And I don't really know how to treat it, but gee, if it wins by 3 or 4, it's the real deal, Incentivise. And we're watching a trial at Cranbourne right now, won by Ripper Reader. He was just given a soft time of it. It was on a heavy track, which he probably doesn't like, so he was falling behind a bit, but he didn't get ridden along, so it was just a tick over trial. Yeah, Incentivise is a cheat. Number 7 is Explosive Jack, a horse that made history last campaign. It won the Tassie Derby, the ATC Derby, and the SA Derby. He did the three-peat, and it was a great horse to watch. Gate 1, yeah, it's a bit sticky, and it ran in that trial with Incentivise. We just didn't highlight it. First up's the obvious query, and at this class, Group 1 against some really quality older horses, but it's only missed the top 3 once in its career, so it could be a sneaky chance. Number 8 is Johnny Get Angry, the Derby winner, $126. The market's saying it can't win. I personally don't think it can win either against some of these older, really quality horses. Made some late ground in the Ori Star first up over 1200 metres, and the step up in distance will only help it. Gate 2, good run. We'll get a good run up on speed, but still unlikely against this field. Number 9 is the horse that I've got on top. It is AEGON. It did really well in the Memsey first up to run on from the back and run past Inspirational Girl late. I think it's a really good chance, AEGON. We're going to take a look at its Memsey run. It ran really well coming from the back. Gate 4 on the weekend. Now, this is the big thing. If it jumps okay and gets a position midfield or so, or forward to midfield even, I reckon it's probably the horse to beat. If it misses the start and it's back near last on the fence, it's got absolutely no hope. But Luke Currie is an absolute quality jockey that goes on. AEGON's 2 from 2 second up, 2 from 4 at the 1600 metres. It's the real deal. It can definitely win. Mo'unga gave it windburn in the Ramwick Guineas, but you know, I think AEGON will get the better run and maybe it could win. Horse number 10 is Mo'unga, the Winx Stakes winner, which was one of the main lead-ups heading into the Makybe Diva Stakes. It did it very well. Got onto the back of Very Elegant, had the run of the race. Probably won't get that again on the weekend, but had the run of the race and was able to just win. The step up in distance to the 1600 metres will only suit it. How far back it'll get from gate 11 was the only query for me. I'm not too sure how far back from gate 11 it'll get, but it is a quality horse. Second up will be fitter for that run in the Winx Stakes, so it can go to a whole new level. It can definitely stamp its claim in the Makybe Diva on Saturday and show that it's here to run a very good spring carnival. I think it can it has the ability to run a good spring carnival, Mo'unga, so I think I've got it in there for second on my tips, so I reckon it's a good chance. Horse number 11 is Colette, a horse that actually ran on pretty well from the back in the Memsey Stakes last start. We're not going to take a look at the replay, but it made some quality late ground, and it can definitely win. It's won 6 from 17 in its career, so it knows how to win. The good track is the obvious query. It's better suited on wet tracks. But from gate 12, they might roll the dice and go forward with the slow speed. I think Damien Oliver will know what to do. Colette is a quality horse on its day, but I don't think Saturday's the day. Number 12 is TOFANE, the early favourite for Craig Williams and Michael Moroney. The step up to 1600 metres for the first time, everyone's debating about it. I reckon it's no issue. I reckon the 1600 metres will only suit it more. Michael Moroney knows what to do. It ran a very solid third in the Memsey Stakes, and it has some residual fitness running in Queensland, in the Queensland Carnival a couple of months ago. We're going to take a look at its Memsey run. It had every chance behind Behemoth and couldn't get past it. I reckon it can be better suited here, considering it's one of the only ones that sits on speed. Especially a slow speed first time over 1600 metres will suit it. The only query for me is that it's a mare. So the guys obviously have a better winning strike rate in this race than the girls in the past, so that's the only query I had with TOFANE. If it was a gelding, I reckon I would have put it on top. The last horse we're going to take a look at is number 13, Inspirational Girl. Every time I look at its form, I reckon it's more and more of a chance of winning. In the Memsey Stakes, it was just battling late, but through the line really excelled. It wants to step up to 1600 metres. Last start in the Memsey was the only time where it missed the top 3 in its career. We're going to take a look at its Memsey Stakes run now. Through the line it was very strong for Damien Lane. The only query is if it steps slow again, how far back it will get, but that's obviously a query for AEGON as well, so I couldn't really separate AEGON and Inspirational Girl in the end, just because AEGON is a colt or a gelding, I don't know what he is, but Inspirational Girl's a mare, so I went with the winning strike rate of what I thought. But Inspirational Girl, the step up to 1600 metres will suit it big time. Through the line was very strong last start. Second up is 3 starts for 3 wins, and 3 starts for 3 wins in the 1600 metres. So that's Inspirational Girl. Which now moves us on to the tips. I reckon AEGON is the one to beat at a price at $8.50. If it jumps well and gets a position, I reckon it's a very, very good chance. But if it gets back to last on the fence, it's got no hope. So it's one of the two there. In second, I've got Mo'unga. Will get back, but be running on well. It won the Wing Stakes, so it's got to be some sort of a chance. TOFANE and Inspirational Girl, the two mares that came out of the Memsey Stakes, are in there for third and fourth. Of course, they're both mares. Mares don't have a very good strike rate in this race, but they're both pretty low in the market, so they've got to be some sort of a chance. And outside of that, Mount Popper, Incentivize, and Imaging were my other three to keep an eye on, and we're close to reaching a top 4 spot. But that's my look at the Makybe Diva Stakes. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back for a runner by runner preview next week of the Sarupa Clark Stakes.